What is good, YouTube? It's Thursday. You know what that means. Well, this is normally when the podcast will be dropping audio version, but we're doing the live stream tonight. It is the Wrestling with Fans podcast. We are a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for fans from a fan's perspective. My name is Kyle, and this is episode 142, End of an Era? Maybe? We'll break it all down. We're going to talk about Vengeance Day. We'll briefly touch on Raw. It was the go-home Raw for Elimination Chamber, which is taking place this Sunday. Then we'll touch on NXT for the fallout from Vengeance Day. And we'll run down the AEW Dynamite results from last night. Let's get the lights back in here the right way. There we go. Looking good. So yeah, this is normally the day that the audio version of the show drops. However, Tuesday was Jen and I's anniversary. So we went out to dinner, had a fun little evening together, hung out, and decided to do the podcast tonight. Again, I apologize for anybody who may have wanted to join last night for our Wednesday night war preview. However, I had a fig hunt of all fig hunts. Again, shout out to my cousin Cody, tipping me off that a local Walmart was loaded with wrestling figures. You haven't checked it out, you can check out the fig hunt video that was just uploaded last night. You can see here in the back, we got the Viking Raiders. Picked those bad boys up. Also picked up the Triple H Decade of Domination Wave 2 figure with the long bike shorts. And also the EST of WWE Bianca Belair. You can check out that video on the channel. It is live right now. Also, it was nice because it's a snow day here in Maryland. So I stayed home all day and unboxed, I think, 8 figures. I still have Macho and Andre. I may do those live tonight, or I may do those on a special live stream this weekend. We'll do a live unboxing. Let me know if you all would be into something fun like that. But before we dive into anything wrestling, let me just run down the laundry list of things here. A little bit of house cleaning at the top of the show like we normally do. Let's look at the live stream schedule. Monday, 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern for our Monday Night Raw preview. Then normally Tuesdays from 8 to around 9 p.m. Eastern, it is the live recording of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. Again, we're doing it on Thursday tonight. Then on Wednesday, 7:30 to 8 p.m., AEW and NXT preview leading into the Wednesday Night War, the best night in all of professional wrestling. Then Fridays, 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern for our Smackdown on Fox preview. This Friday, tomorrow actually, we'll be breaking down what we expect on the go-home episode of Smackdown, plus anything else that comes up for Elimination Chamber, because we're going to talk about that in tonight's podcast. And of course, follow us across all social media. Facebook.com, you can find us at Wrestling with Fans. YouTube.com, search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. Click the logo, click that subscribe button. Turn on notifications if you want to be notified anytime I go live or anytime a new video is posted. You can also follow us on Instagram. I've been using Instagram a lot more, trying to broaden the spectrum of social medias I use here for the podcast. You can find us at Wrestling with Fans. Post some cool little snippets of some fig hunts, some figures I've picked up in the wild, and maybe some unboxing clips, little fun with figs, some fig photography type stuff. You can find that over on Instagram. You can follow us at Wrestling with Fans. Twitch.tv/Wrestling with Fans. You can find us there. If you want to listen to the audio version of the podcast, you can find us on our website, WrestlingWithFans.com. I did a lot of updating on that tonight, so head over to WrestlingWithFans.com. Check out the updated website. You can find links to all the podcast. The new audio shows are normally posted every Thursday morning at 6 a.m. I'm going to try to get this edited and uploaded for tomorrow, Friday, a day late, but, things happen. But yeah, anywhere you look for wrestling podcasts, you can take us on the go, download us to your favorite podcast listening device. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Wrestling with Fans podcast. Coming back in here, the last thing I want to touch on before we dive into wrestling, if you see below me here on the live stream, we are on the road to 50 subscribers here on YouTube. We are sitting at 35 now. I'd love to hit 50 by the end of February. So we got about 10 days to get 15 subscribers. I think we can pull it off. So if you're watching this live, if you listen to the podcast in audio form later on, head over to the YouTube channel, search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. Give us a subscribe, check out a video, thumbs up, comment, all that fun stuff. We'd love to have you on board. I really enjoyed doing this live streaming thing here on YouTube and making fun YouTube content for everybody out there. So now that that's all taken care of, let's dive into some actual wrestling. Let's go back to Sunday, February 14th. Valentine's Day. Hope you all had a wonderful Valentine's Day this past Sunday for those that celebrate. For NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. Now, I've chatted about this before. I think they missed an opportunity to call it St. Valentine's Day Massacre. That was the pay-per-view, I think it was in 99 when the Big Show made his WWF debut. I think they really could have nailed one there, but we had 5 matches on the card, and it was an absolutely banger of a pay-per-view. The show kicked off with the women's final of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. It saw Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart taking on Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. Absolutely fire match to open the card. Lots of action, pretty much nonstop the entire way through. Raquel Gonzalez is an absolute beast. I really would love to see her up on the main roster. I think she would be a monster on Raw, a monster on Smackdown, wherever they decide to put her. She would just do some amazing things. Ember Moon did have a short run on the main roster, but it was a little lackluster, to say the least. She came in with a lot of hype, and then they really didn't do anything with her. Didn't really have much for her, so that was kind of disappointing, to say the least. But I'm trying to get all my stuff in order here. Great match. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez picking up the win to be the first ever Dusty Rhodes Classic Tag Team Trophy winners for the females. Up next, we had the North American Championship match. Johnny Gargano defending the title against Kushida. Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Takeover, picking up the win, retaining the title in just under 25 minutes. They did a lot here to really sell Kushida as a top-tier talent. He's been with them for almost 2 years now, and they really haven't done much with him. He's had great matches anytime he's been on TV, but they really haven't had him in a main storyline until now in this feud over the North American Championship. It was a great match. There's a few points where you really thought Kushida was going to pick up the win, but in all reality, they really haven't done much with him up until now, so I don't really see the need to kind of pull the trigger. I would have loved to have seen Kushida win the North American Championship, but it wasn't to be. Johnny Gargano hitting 2 DDTs to pick up the win. Great match. Awesome. Up next was the men's finals of their Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. You saw James Drake and Zach Gibson, the grizzled young veterans, taking on Nash Carter and Wesley, known as MSK, formerly the Rascals in Impact Wrestling. And they did the right thing here. MSK picking up the win in about 18 and a half minutes. It was a smart decision. The Grizzled Young Veterans have been around for a little while. They've kind of been in the mix. But, MSK is fresh into the company, fresh to TV. Hot tag team coming out of Impact, signing with WWE, being a part of NXT. It was a smart decision to give those guys the win. And that match, again, was just non-stop action. If you like those non-stop, fast-paced, high-spot wrestling matches, this was definitely a match in your wheelhouse. I highly recommend it. And for me, it probably was the match of the night. Follow that up with the triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. Io Shirai defending against Mercedes Martinez and Toni Storm. Just another great match. I love all of these ladies. Io Shirai might be my favorite women's wrestler at the moment. Toni Storm, she is thick with 4 C's. Hell of a talent in the ring to boot. And then Mercedes Martinez, formerly of Retribution, doing probably the smartest thing she could do and just going back to NXT. It's good to have her back. She's been in the business for a long time. I think around 20 years, possibly, give or take. Great match. Io picking up the win in just over 12 minutes. And then we get to the main event. And we're going to dive a little further into this as the show progresses. But it was the NXT Championship match. Finn Balor defending against the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne. Finn Balor retaining the title in about 25 and a half minutes. And they could have given these guys an hour and I'd have been enthralled the entire time. Solid match. Just start to finish. Really good. Finn picking up the win. But what's really interesting is what happens after the match. Because here's where the story picks up. You had Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan, the NXT Tag Team Champions, coming out and jumping Finn Balor. And then you had Kyle O'Reilly, Roddy Strong, and Adam Cole of the Undisputed Era coming out to make the save. They chase off the heels. Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor have had this mutual respect thing going on for a while now, since their title matches. So you got Roddy and Kyle doing the Undisputed Era hands, getting ready to do their pose. Finn Balor goes to do his gun pose, and then he is on the receiving end of a vicious super kick from Adam Cole, baby, knocking him down, taking him out there at the end. Kyle O'Reilly gets pissed off. Kyle O'Reilly gets at Adam Cole's face. What are you doing? Yada, yada, yada. Then Adam Cole, baby, super kicks Kyle O'Reilly right there in the middle of the ring. Adam Cole, baby, posing with the NXT Championship. So it seems that he has his sights set back on the gold. And we could be seeing the end of the Undisputed Era. The show went off the air with Adam Cole up at the end of the ramp, the stage there. Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor out cold on the canvas, and Roddy Strong looking confused, not sure what to do. He's kind of looking at Adam Cole, then he's looking back at Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly. And we get a little bit of follow-up on NXT this week, and I'll touch on that here in a few minutes. But overall, to me, that was just a 5-star pay-per-view. NXT takeovers just seem to deliver every single time. It doesn't matter who's on the card, how many matches are on the card. Those men and women deliver every single time. If you haven't checked out TakeOver Vengeance Day, I highly recommend checking that show out over on the WWE Network. So let's jump up ahead a night to Monday Night Raw. It was the go home edition for the Elimination Chamber. And Raw was kind of interesting this week. I didn't think it was a bad show. I also didn't think it was a great show. It was kind of a in the middle show. But let's run it down. Started off with a 6-man tag match. Matt Riddle, Lindsay Dorado, and Grand Metalik of the Lucha House Party taking on the Hurt Business, Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, and the MVP of WWE, MVP. Metalik and Matt Riddle picking up the win in about 10 minutes. It's okay opener. Then we get some stuff with the 24/7 title backstage. Damian Priest and Bad Bunny are walking around backstage. Then we get the 24/7 champion R-Truth coming in there, getting lippy with Priest. Priest tosses him into a crate. Truth is out cold, and then Priest has Bad Bunny pin R-Truth. So the most downloaded artist in 2020 is now your 24/7 champion. Now, the significance of that is that Bad Bunny, let me move the camera here a little bit. Bad Bunny is the musical guest on this week's episode of Saturday Night Live. So this was a pretty smart PR move by WWE. They'll have Bad Bunny on Saturday Night Live. I know their ratings and stuff have dwindled, but I still think they're pulling in better numbers than Raw. They'll have one of their champions on Saturday Night Live with the belt. It's very obvious they are pushing towards a Damian Priest and Bad Bunny taking on the Miz and John Morrison match at WrestleMania. So what better way to help build some hype for that match, even though it's still 2 months away and it hasn't even been announced, but you put them on Saturday Night Live with the belt. The WWE Network is moving to Peacock. SNL is on NBC. Peacock is owned by NBC. So again, it's more cross-promotional. It's a smart PR move by WWE. Now, the real question is, will R-Truth show up somewhere during Saturday Night Live this week and capture the 24/7 championship back from Bad Bunny? I'm going to go with probably, because I think R-Truth's comedic timing, is just comedy in general, is just absolutely amazing. So it would not surprise me if Truth shows up on SNL and takes back the 24/7 championship. Now, the next match is quite interesting and led to some interesting post-match stuff. It saw the team of Asuka and Charlotte, the former women's tag team champions, taking on the team of Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans with the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, in tow. Now, Lacey never actually got in the match. Peyton took the entire match, all 6 minutes of it. Peyton just pretty much just got her ass beat by Charlotte and Asuka the entire time. But the interesting thing comes post-match. Lacey Evans drops down off the apron, goes to walk away, grabs a microphone, and tells her, Charlotte, pronouns, pal, tells Charlotte that she can't touch her because she is pregnant. She didn't say whether or not Ric Flair was the father, but it was kind of, she kind of hinted towards it. Even Rick kind of wooed and did his little Ric Flair strut. But as it turns out, Lacey Evans is actually pregnant. They just found out on Monday. She let the company know right away. So they had to call a quick audible and come up with something because Lacey Evans was actually set to face Asuka this Sunday at Elimination Chamber. As of now, there is no actual replacement yet for Lacey Evans. So I don't know if they're going to have a fill-in or if they'll just scrap the match altogether and maybe book something on Smackdown this week to fill in that spot. But it's a legit pregnancy, and no, Ric Flair is not the father. Lacey and her husband are expecting their second child. They have a daughter together previously who's been used in storylines before. Then we get a pretty good match between Kofi Kingston and The Miz. Kofi picking up the win in a little over 14 minutes. Up next, we get Lana taking on the Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler. No, Nia Jax didn't injure her hole. Thank God for that. Shayna picks up the win in 4 minutes via submission. Nothing special to go to write home about. Then we get the gauntlet match. Now, they announced this at the top of the show that all 6 members of the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match were going to have a gauntlet match on Raw, where the winner of the match would earn the right to enter the Elimination Chamber in the 6th and final spot. Now, I guess let me jump back here because I forgot to bring this up when talking about it, but backstage, Miz was talking to definitely not Raw GM Adam Pearce, saying that he wanted to give up his spot in the Elimination Chamber since he already has Money in the Bank. And he suggested to Adam Pearce that it be an up-and-comer, a former world champion, John Morrison. Now, Kofi and Xavier Woods just happen to walk up while this is going on. Kofi puts his name in the hat that if Miz wants to give up his spot, he's a former WWE champion. He had never actually got a rematch against the man that took that title from him, Brock Lesnar. So Adam Pearce sets up a match where if Kofi wins, he takes Miz's spot. And if Miz wins, John Morrison takes the Miz's spot, which of course I just talked about. Kofi Kingston picking up the win, inserting himself into the Elimination Chamber match and also in the Gauntlet match. So this Gauntlet match starts out with AJ Styles and Kofi Kingston. And for those who thought maybe we get Kofi Mania Part 2, well, possibly not yet. AJ Styles eliminates Kofi Kingston in 11 minutes. Then up next, we get the WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre. Him and AJ Styles had a great portion of this match. So this Gauntlet match took up the entire 3rd hour of Monday Night Raw. Drew defeats AJ in a little over 18 minutes. So up next is Jeff Hardy. Jeff and Drew go almost just under 11 minutes. Drew picking up the win. Then comes in Randy Orton. Drew defeats Randy by countout in less than a minute. I think there was some distraction stuff. I was asleep by this point. But I did see the clips, the highlights of this last portion. So finally it comes down to Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. Sheamus picking up the win in 6 minutes, pinning the WWE champion and guaranteeing himself the number 6 spot in this Sunday's Elimination Chamber. So you had some good story stuff. You had some great wrestling in the 3rd hour. Not sure what they're going to do with the whole pregnancy thing with Lacey and Charlotte and Rick. And then Lacey's supposed to have the match with Asuka. We have no idea what's going on, but we'll look at the current known Elimination Chamber card here in a little bit. So let's jump over to AEW. This is Wednesday night. Again, I apologize for not being on Wednesday. Did that awesome Fig Hunt. check out the channel to find that video to see what all goodies I got. Plus, Jen and I picked up something, did a little unboxing at the end of that FigCon, little bonus footage. Check that out on the channel when the stream is over. I didn't watch Dynamite yet, to be perfectly honest. I watched most of NXT last night. I did not watch Dynamite. I have the results here, and I know a couple other things that did happen. I worked all day unboxing figures, so I haven't had a chance to watch AEW, but we're going to talk about it anyway. This is the first time I haven't watched AEW in probably like 3 or 4 weeks. I've been keeping up with them. Really been enjoying what they're doing over there. So this week on Dynamite, it opened up with Adam Page and Matt Hardy taking on Angelico and Jack Evans. Hangman and Hardy picking up the win in about 7 minutes. Then you have a tournament match for the women's contender tournament, whatever they're calling it, the American division. Riho defeating Serena Deeb in just under 50 minutes in what I've heard is a pretty damn good match. I do love Serena Deeb. I'm not the biggest Riho fan, but, apparently this was a really good match. I'll probably go back and watch it. Maybe I'll watch it tomorrow after the WandaVision episode. I always like to watch that early in the morning. Up next, you had Mr. Pockets himself, Orange Cassidy, defeating Luther in under 2 minutes. You had an AEW Tag Team Championship match. Santana and Ortiz, proud and powerful of the Inner Circle, taking on Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks. The Bucks picking up the win in 13 minutes. Follow that up with another tag team match. FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood defeating the Sydal brothers. Matt Sydal and his brother Mike Sydal. Now, Matt Sydal, for those of you who aren't aware, is formerly known as Evan Bourne from WWE. FTR picking up the win in about 9 minutes. And in the main event, saw a pretty banging 6-man tag match. I did see some clips of this on social media. The team of Jon Moxley, Lance Archer, and Rey Fenix defeating the team of Eddie Kingston, the Butcher, the Blade, and the Candlestick Maker in about 12 minutes. The other big thing that happened that a lot of people are talking about, Sting once again being interrupted by Team Taz. But then Sting ended up taking a Brian Cage powerbomb, which is the first bump Sting has taken since his last match in WWE in 2015. I'm not sure what pay-per-view that is. So Sting taking a really big bump on Dynamite. They got that street fight coming up, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks. Should be pretty good, but again, the first time in a while I have not stayed up to date on AEW. First Dynamite I've missed in a while. I apologize. So let's look at NXT. After I got home from the FigCon, I did turn on and watch some of NXT. I call it like the last hour. But the show started off with Kyle O'Reilly interrupting the announcers, coming out, calling out Adam Cole, Bebe, demanding answers. He is interrupted by the Prince himself, the NXT champion, Finn Balor. It ends up leading to a 6-man tag match later in the evening, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. The opening contest saw the runners-up in the Women's Dusty Tag Team Classic, Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart, defeating The Way, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell in 16 minutes and 20 seconds. Up next, you had a short little match between Leon Ruff and Isaiah Swerve Scott. Leon Ruff picking up the win in about 5.5 minutes. Then we get another women's tag team match. Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter defeating Aaliyah and Jessica Mayo. That was a short one, 2.5 minutes. Let's turn this off. All right, there we go. Updating the stream, live time, guys. Up next, we had a really good match. This is where I tuned in to NXT. Kushida defeating Tyler Rust in a little over 11 minutes. Then you had another short match. Zoe Stark defeating Valentina Feroz, 2.5 minutes. And then the main event of the evening, Pete Dunne and the NXT Tag Team Champions, Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan, taking on the team of the Prince, the NXT Champion Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. So, Burch, Lorcan, and Dunne pick up the win in about 12 minutes. Got to find my notes here, so just give me just a moment. I typed this up earlier about the post-match stuff, so I want to make sure I have it in front of me so I can talk about it, because we continue the storyline that started at Vengeance Day. Oh, man. You know, it'd help if I had this stuff ready. All right, here we go. Scroll down here to the end. All right. So post-match, get a brawl that broke out outside. Strong saved O'Reilly from Burch and Lorcan. However, the referee got taken out of the chaos, and Adam Cole, Bebe, appeared to assault Kyle O'Reilly. Then in the chaos that follows, Balor accidentally caught Strong with the Pele kick, and Dunne took advantage to plant Balor with the bitter end for the win. As Balor watched the heels gloat, he ate another super kick from Adam Cole, Bebe, and then Cole holding up the NXT Championship. Now, during the match, in all this chaos, Adam Cole, Bebe, drops Kyle O'Reilly with the suplex across the steel steps. Now, after the show went off the air, medical crews came down, Triple H came down. They ended up stretchering Kyle O'Reilly out of the Capitol Wrestling Center. They ended up stretching him out. And some people in attendance took pictures and posted them to social media. And some speculated that Kyle O'Reilly, who is a type 1 diabetic, suffered a seizure during the match or in the post-match scrum. As it turns out, that is not the case. So which some people started to crucify WWE unjustly for them playing into this and making Kyle O'Reilly appear that he has a seizure. Again, he's a type 1 diabetic. But as it turns out, that is not the case, and people just looked into it a bit too much. So here's where we stand. Is this the end of the Undisputed Era? They have been at the top of NXT for, I think, the last 3.5, maybe 4 years at this point. So, kind of wondering what they're doing. They had been heels for a long time. And then in the last 6 months to a year or so, they've kind of worked their way. All right, so we'll come back over here. So I'm really wondering, there we go. Is this the end? It's obvious that Adam Cole, Bebe, has his sights set on Finn Balor's NXT Championship. I'm guessing that this is going to be the WrestleMania weekend or whenever the next TakeOver pay-per-view is. Let's see if we can find out when that is. There's nothing announced yet. Okay. That's kind of what I thought. Nothing announced yet for the next TakeOver. But I'm guessing that's where they're going to be working towards. Here's the thing. The Undisputed Era, I mean, all good things must come to an end, I guess. But the Undisputed Era have been a cohesive unit for so long. You know, they had the Gold Rush where all four of them held NXT championships. Adam Cole, Bebe, was the NXT champion. Roderick Strong was the North American champion. And Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, Red Dragon, they were the tag team champions. And they dominated. This is mostly, I think, 2019. They just dominated NXT. My hope was one day that the four of them would move up to Raw or SmackDown, to the main roster, as a cohesive unit. And even though they're all on the smaller side, they're just so good at what they do. I was kind of hoping we'd get the Undisputed Era on the main roster for, you know, a good run. Which I guess is still a possibility, but they're going to have to, I guess, bring them back together at some point down the line. I am not happy. I'm not going to lie. I am not happy. Huge Undisputed Era mark. I've got the hat. I've got shirts. I've got the armband. I got all the figures. Except for the first Adam Cole Elite. And then his one basic where he has literally no neck. But I do have the Fan Takeover 2. Hopefully coming soon. It's been ordered on Amazon. So I'll be getting that soon. And I did finally unbox all the Undisputed Era figures. So be looking for that on the channel very, very soon. I'm going to start editing this weekend. All right, before we jump into some news and looking at Elimination Chamber, what we know as of right now, let's take a quick little break ski. Gonna play you guys one of the cool figure unboxing videos that you can find over on the YouTube channel. In this one, we're going to take a look at the MJF AEW Unrivaled Series 2 unboxing. It's a really good video. Did very well for us on the YouTube channel. So we're going to take a look at that real quick while we take a quick break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Again, we're going to run down some news, and we'll take a look at where the Elimination Chamber card is right now. So let's jump in this video, and I'll see you guys in just a couple minutes. What is good, YouTube? Kyle here from Wrestling with Fans, back with another AEW Unrivaled Series 2 figure unboxing. And as you can see here, we have the one and only Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. Unfortunately, I was not one of the lucky that found one of the Chase variants, because I probably wouldn't be opening that one. But since this is just a regular one, we're going to crack him open, let him breathe. But first, let's take a look at the packaging. Again, these packages are so clean, so eye-popping, just a great packaging, dynamite job on creating these packages. Stuff there on the bottom. Got the window, picture on the front, AEW on one side, AEW on the other, MJF number 12 in the series. You can see here, a picture on the back with the signature. I do love the signature as a touch. You can see who else is in the line here. You got Dustin Rhodes, Pentagon Ray Phoenix, the Lucha Brothers, Hangman Adam Page, and Jon Moxley. And again, this is from AEW Double or Nothing from May 25th, 2019 in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm excited for this one. This is one of the figures that I knew that I wanted. I wasn't sure I was going to get the whole line if I seen them. But I knew if I saw an MJF, I would get the MJF. Let's get him open here. Set the box off to the side. Can't see him in this bubble here. That's one thing, these bubbles, I mean, they're really in these bubbles. Let's see if we can pull the scarf off there. You really gotta work to get these guys out. Straighten him up here. Can't put his scarf on. I love the scarf. First, let's take a look here. The head scan really captures his likeness very well. The hair, everything, the smirk on his face does come with a soft goods scarf. The Burberry looking scarf. I love soft goods accessories. And this is another awesome one. He does come with an AEW microphone. He literally has a mic holding hand. It's a really small microphone. So I'm guessing all the other hands on them, on the other figs, look like what would be like a typical WWE Elite mic holding hand, but it's got a tiny little mic holding hand there. But let's take a look at the gear. You can see the red, the gold lions, MJF on the back. I do like the touch of the plaid on the back of the knee pads. Looks really good, looks really clean. A tattoo there, a tattoo on his arm over there. Okay, I thought for a second the elbow pad was molded on, but it's not, thank goodness. Yeah, those are all good. Same articulation as all the others. Got the good chest, kind of got the hip swivel, double jointed arm, double jointed knees, the calf, the thigh, and the really cool foot pivot, which is really nice. So yep, he's on ball joints. Awesome stuff. I really, really like this MJF figure. One of my favorite wrestlers in AEW right now. Alright guys, there you have it. MJF AEW Unrivaled Series 2. Again, I'm not one of the lucky that's gotten the chase. If you found the chase, are you one of the lucky that have gotten your hands on the MJF chase figure? Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoy this video, consider giving us a thumbs up. And if you want to come back for more fun wrestling content, make sure you smash that subscribe button. But that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all for watching. Once again, my name is Kyle. This is Wrestling with Fans, and we'll see you guys in the next video. All right, guys, and welcome back into the show. Let's run down the stream schedule real quick. Again, Monday, 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern for our WWE Raw preview. Tuesdays, 8 to around 9 p.m. Eastern for the Wrestling with Fans podcast live stream. Join me on Wednesdays from 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern for our Wednesday Night War preview. And then again on Fridays from 7:30 to 8 p.m. for our Smackdown on Fox preview. Live here on the YouTube channel. And speaking of YouTube, make sure you follow the podcast on all social media. Facebook.com/Wrestling with Fans. YouTube.com. Search Wrestling with Fans podcast. Click the blue logo. Click that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Wrestling with Fans. Follow us on Instagram. I made an Instagram account a while back, and I've been trying to post there more. Some cool content, fig hunt pictures, toy haul pictures, fun with figs, fig photography, all that good stuff. Over at Instagram, just search Wrestling with Fans. And finally, you can find us wherever you get your podcast fix. Just search Wrestling with Fans podcast. So let's talk Elimination Chamber. Actually, let's do some news first. Let's do a few news bits here. Damian Priest, the Archer of Infamy, is apparently well liked backstage and getting high praise from officials. Management is impressed with how well he has adapted to the switch to the main roster. This is a report from Fightful Select and Sean Ross Sapp. Priest made his main roster debut on January 21st in the men's Royal Rumble match and has since aligned himself with Bad Bunny, your current 24/7 champion. Now, I had the fortunate pleasure of seeing Damian Priest right after he signed. This was in May of 2019 at a house show out northeast of Baltimore in Maryland. Went there. It was actually on my birthday. Got to see him take on Keith Lee in a banger of a match. Then those two went on to have a really nice feud in NXT. Now Priest is on the main roster. He is 38 years old, so he is on the older side, but he fits right in with the average age of most of the main roster talent, but that's another topic for another day. All right. Bo Dallas has been missing in action since the Crown Jewel event, the Dirty Saudi Blood Money 2, all the way back in October 2019, is the last time that Bo Dallas has been seen on WWE television. So well over a year since we have seen Mr. Bo leave. Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer Radio has reported that, yes, Bo Dallas is still employed by WWE, although there are still no plans to use him at this time. Bo Dallas, I think, was the first NXT champion, if I remember correctly, or one of the early ones, maybe the first one. Had a great run in NXT, got called up to the main roster, and they've pretty much done nothing of real significance with him, which is a shame. He's super talented, great wrestler, great on the mic, and the actual brother of Bray Wyatt. So I don't know why they haven't done anything with the Wyatt family over the years or with The Fiend, anything. And he's only 30 years old. He's still very young. And he's been in the business for many years. He's the brother of Bray Wyatt and the son of IRS, a.k.a. Mike Rotunda. Wrestling is in his blood. But for whatever reason, WWE still has not used him. Now, last year on Black Wednesday in April, his longtime tag team partner, Curtis Axel, the son of Mr. Perfect, was released. And even his father, Mike Rotunda, who was working with the company as an agent, was furloughed at the time. But again, for well over a year, Bo Dallas has not been seen on TV, and it is an actual shame. Now, there's another news story I wanted to get to. Let me pull it up here. All right. WWE is reportedly finding talent for naming third parties in their social media posts. I pulled this article up on WrestlingHeadlines.com. But their report is based off of a Wrestling Inc. article where WWE is issuing violations to any talent who names a third-party platform, business, charity, or brand in a post on social media. Reports are that the company will first issue a warning for the violation, followed by a fine and possible suspension if it continues to happen. This is due to WWE's new policy ban on third-party platforms, a topic that grabbed headlines last September and caught the attention of former Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang. The policy is also what eventually cost former star Zelina Vega her job. Vega would later publicly post about unionizing, a move that got her in contact with the head of the SAG-AFTRA, the Screen Actors Guild, which is headed by Gabrielle Carteris, who played on the hit TV show from the mid to late 90s, Beverly Hills 90210. Maybe one of these episodes I'll do something kind of long form on the potential for unionizing in WWE, the good, the bad, and the because reasons. Because we haven't done a lot of because reasons in this show in a while. It was always good to bounce that off of Bobby and Jason, so That is some of the news. Let me double check my phone here. I save articles throughout the week, but I've got so many figure unboxing videos on here. Oh, there is something. I'm glad I checked. Bruce Mitchell, formerly of the PW Torch senior columnist, right after Brody Lee passed away, John Huber passed away, he put out a column basically demanding full transparency from Huber's widow, Amanda, and AEW on what happened, a timeline, cause of death, things like that, which caused a severe public backlash against the former senior columnist over PW Torch. The column was pulled quickly from the PW Torch website, but was later re-uploaded to a independent website. I think it's Charlotte or Greensville, somewhere in North Carolina, wherever he's from. One of their blogging websites uploaded the full article. I'm sure if you Google search it, you can find it. I think he even linked it to his Twitter account. A few days after the backlash, Mitchell never backed down from his stance of that column and received lots of hate via Twitter and social media, and he eventually deactivated his Twitter account. He did reactivate it on Inauguration Day and posted a picture of President-elect, former Vice President Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris, the Ugandan giant, the Vice President, and has since begun retweeting. Well, he tweeted this on the 15th of February. Took a screenshot of it here. Says here, quote, John Huber's death caused terrible pain for his wife Amanda, his two young sons, and all those he worked with in the industry. I can't get around that fact that, despite my intentions and care, I added to that pain. I take responsibility for that, and I'm sorry for making it worse for John Huber's family and friends. I hope Mrs. Huber can forgive me. And then another, it's kind of like a double screenshot, which he posted, and I just screenshotted the entire thing. It says here, quote, as a student of life in pro wrestling, I took this time away to reflect and learn. I've written what I have to say on the subject, and I remain sorry for the pain I caused. As for Wade Keller, well, we dug coal together. I haven't seen anything as far as him reconciling or possibly even getting back on with the PW Torch. I would imagine that if that happened, there would be a big backlash against Wade Keller as well. But time will tell. The last little news snippet I want to touch on is if you caught Dynamite, and I forgot to talk about this during the AEW portion of the show, right before a segment, Jim Ross stated, hang on tight, WWE World Champion Kenny Omega is coming up. Kenny Omega, of course, is not WWE Champion. He is AEW Champion. To which Drew McIntyre posted a picture to Twitter. You can go over to Drew McIntyre's Twitter account if you want to see it, but I'll describe it to you. He's sitting in a folding chair at ringside with the championship draped over his shoulder with a kind of like the CM Punk is not impressed look on his face. And the caption reading, the WWE World Champion Drew McIntyre is not impressed or amused. For those watching the live stream, I'll kind of put it up here so you can take a quick look at it. Pretty fun stuff. But again, that's at D McIntyre WWE if you want to go check out Drew's Twitter account for that one. All right, so let's jump into Elimination Chamber real quick before we wrap up the show. Right now, there are 5 matches announced, but I only see 4 of them going on. Because one of those matches announced is Asuka defending the Raw Women's Championship against Lacey Evans. But as I spoke on earlier, Lacey Evans is legit shoot pregnant with her husband, not Ric Flair. Obviously did not take any bumps or any physical activity on Raw this past week and will not be able to compete in the match this Sunday. There has been no replacement announced. Whether that be an opponent for Asuka or a replacement match on the card, I'm sure we'll get something tomorrow night on Smackdown. Otherwise, there are 4 other matches announced. You have a triple threat match for the United States Championship. Bobby Lashley defending the title against Keith Lee and Matt Riddle. Now, let me look this up real quick. Apparently, Keith Lee is injured. This is from PW Mania. Says noted on from this past week's Raw, Lee was dealing with injuries and might not be cleared in time. So it'll be interesting to see if they go through with another Bobby Lashley versus Matt Riddle match, which I hope we don't get. I was kind of hoping Keith Lee would be in this and we'd get, change in titles or something like that. But I guess we'll find out more probably on Sunday because they're all Raw guys and there was nothing said about it on Raw. We also have the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match. Drew McIntyre will be defending against AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Kofi Kingston, and Sheamus. And due to the win in the Gauntlet match on Monday, Sheamus has earned the right to enter the Elimination Chamber match in the 6th position. So he'll be the last person to enter in this match. He'll be in his pod the longest. And we also have an Elimination Chamber match for a shot at the Blue Universal title. Now, this is originally supposed to be Roman Reigns defending, like Drew, in the Elimination Chamber match. However, Paul Heyman set it up where the Elimination Chamber match will be for a number 1 contender spot later in the pay-per-view. And in the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match, you have Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, King Corbin, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Daniel Bryan. The winner of that match will face your tribal chief and mine, the head of our table, Roman Reigns, for the Blue Universal title. I'm guessing that the SmackDown Chamber match will open the show. The Blue Universal title match will close the show. As far as predictions, it's kind of hard to predict, but I'm going to go ahead and say Drew is going to retain. And if he does lose, it's only so he can get a WrestleMania moment in front of fans. But I think Drew's going to retain, and they'll set up his challenger after that. The U.S. title match, it's hard to predict because if Keith Lee is in the match, I predict Keith Lee to win by pinning Matt Riddle. Bobby Lashley won't be involved in the pinfall. So they can get the belt off of him without taking a loss. If Keith Lee is unable to participate, then Bobby Lashley will probably beat Matt Riddle in about 4 minutes. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen. As far as the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match, Roman Reigns is a full-blown heel. So that eliminates 3 of the contenders off the jump. King Corbin, Sami Zayn, and Jey Uso will not win. It's going to come down to Kevin Owens, Cesaro, and Daniel Bryan. Now, there are positives and negatives for any of them winning. Of course, Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns is a dream match that people have wanted for a while, but I think that would be better served at a WrestleMania or maybe even SummerSlam. Cesaro has been hot. He's been winning matches. He'd be a great opponent to put up against Roman Reigns here. He's probably pound for pound the best pure athlete, the strongest athlete in WWE right now. And Kevin Owens, we've seen him and Roman Reigns in the previous 2 or 3 months as it is. So if they want to have Kevin Owens win, he can go right into a match with Roman and lose again. And I think that's probably what they're going to do. They'll have Kevin Owens win. He'll go up against Roman. Roman beats him again. And then we'll get setting up Edge and Roman if that's still the plan for WrestleMania after that. So that, my friends, is Elimination Chamber. It is this Sunday. Maybe I'll do a little pre-show live stream here on YouTube. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. End of an era. I really hope this isn't the total end of the Undisputed Era, but it seems that is the case. I was really hoping for more. But all good things, as they say, must come to an end, just like this podcast. But before I go, let me just remind everybody that if you haven't done so already, head over to facebook.com/wrestling with fans. Hulk smash that like button to keep up to date with everything we do here on the podcast. We live stream the show right here on our YouTube channel, youtube.com. Search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. Click the blue logo and click that subscribe button. If you want to be notified anytime I go live or anytime a new video is posted to the channel, make sure you click that little bell and set notifications to always so you get a notification anytime anything happens here on the channel. You can listen to the shows, download or stream them at any time on our website, wrestlingwithfans.com. New shows are posted every Thursday morning at 6 a.m. just in time for a morning commute. This week, obviously, I'm live streaming on Thursday. I'm going to try to get this show edited and up for a Friday upload. Or you can take us on the go and download us to your favorite podcast listening device. Just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast wherever you get your podcast fix. Or if you go to wrestlingwithfans.com/links, you can find links to get the podcast on your favorite platform. You can follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/wrestlingwithfans. Do some gaming streams, but I may just end the Twitch and put it all under YouTube. We'll see how things go. But for now, we're going to keep the Twitch. And last and certainly not least, follow us on Instagram at Wrestling with Fans. I've been trying to use Instagram a bit more. I made an Instagram for the podcast a couple months ago, and I post pictures and some clips and some fun things over there. So make sure you give us a follow over on the gram. And finally, one last time to end the show. Mondays, 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern for our Raw preview right here on YouTube. Tuesdays at 8 p.m. till around 9 p.m. Eastern for a live stream of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. Next week, we'll be looking at Elimination Chamber and any fallout from Monday's Raw next week. Join me on Wednesdays from 7:30 to 8 p.m. for our AEW Dynamite and NXT preview. 30 minutes to preview the best night in wrestling, the Wednesday Night War. We spend about 15 minutes on each show. And then come back again on Fridays from 7:30 to 8 p.m. for our Smackdown on Fox preview. Tomorrow night, we'll be trying to predict what could happen on the go-home edition of Smackdown before Elimination Chamber. Now, I've thought about maybe doing a stream on Thursday, doing just something non-TV wrestling related, whether it be wrestling figures, wrestling toys, toys in general, or just any random stuff. So if you're interested in that, reach out via email, wwfshow@gmail.com, or hit us up on Instagram or on Facebook. Shoot us a message over there. And I may even do a little stream on Sunday pre-Elimination Chamber. I really had fun doing a live stream watch along of the Royal Rumble. So maybe I'll do the same thing for Elimination Chamber. We'll see how things are going on Sundays. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for the podcast this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the show as much as I enjoyed. This is episode 142, End of an Era. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Once again, my name is Kyle, and I will see you guys next time right here on Wrestling with Fans.